In that 12th position, Lim Jin Yong in tied 19th, and Kim Ji Soo in tied 28th. We will run you through the events as, of course, we continue with the action right here. Let's also very quickly remind you that one of the key things that we can't neglect about this course is the fact that well, there's so much of history behind it. Keep in mind the fact that, as we said, it is an event or a course that's constructed with well, the mind of the Golden Bear, and that's Choi Hai-jin. With her third stroke, it's a par 6 for the asking on this one. Gets herself into a decent position, might set herself up for a birdie, so one of the favorites, definitely, with every single golf fan in Korea Republic. She's also gaining a lot of ground in Asia, and that's Hwan Young-min. It's a par 3 for the asking, hole number 7. She's going in with a 7 iron. She's carrying a 3 under score here today, so it's fairly decent. Well, it wouldn't be the best effort from her, but she's got herself onto the green, and I think she should be, well, fairly happy about that. Now she needs to get out of the beach here. Lee Yi-won on hole number 6. That's a third. Well, excellent. Absolutely brilliant effort there. Positions herself well for a birdie. Nicely done. Meanwhile, looking to make progress on the fairways, here's Lee Ji-young. Chilly dip from her there, but she's done well. Oh, absolutely marvelous effort from Lee Ji-young. So it's been a fairly positive start for most of the golfers here today. Here's Park Hyun-kyung with her third effort for hole number 6. She's carrying 1 under, 103 meters to the hole. And that's beautifully placed as well. That's going to stay put there. She's got that confident expression. Meanwhile, here's Bang Shun-sil on her second stroke. It's hole number 8, 151 meters. She needs to cover. She's used a 7 iron, carrying a 3 under. Or that could have actually found its way through, but it's just going to stay off the outside and on the green, so that's going to be good for her. Bang Shun-sil, another, one of those golfers who does come out with stellar moments on the course on different days. She's also one of the golfers that really entertains with her skill. Jung Yoon-ji now. Her second stroke for hole number 8, 148 meters is what she's looking at. And that's just about perfect from her. It looks like a couple of birdies are going to be flying here for certain. Choi Hai-jin looking for birdie on hole number 6. And that's going to creep just short of it, which means she'll have to finish with an on par. One of the young golfers who made a lot of strides in the past 2 years, Choi Hai-jin. She's well, crept up the rankings slowly but surely. Did have a few moments a couple of weeks ago when she was at, well, the Suyuk Bank Open. Now here's Park Hyun-kyung aiming for birdie on hole number 6. And that does it for her. Every time you hear that ball rattle the cup, you know pretty much it's got to put a smile on the face of the golfer. So she's got 2 birdies in there in that first 9, and I think that's going to stand her good. Here's Bangchan Sil aiming for birdie on hole number 8. Well done. That's rolled in beautifully, and a very worthy applause from the crowd as well. That's 4 consecutive birdies and 4 under for Bangchan Sil. She's on a roll today in that first 9. Needs to keep her composure here, Lee Vaughan. There's a lot expected from her with the current rankings. She's carrying a 1. She was carrying a 1 over, and that's just about... That ball's certainly afraid of the dark. Almost thought she was going to lip out, but she will have to settle for an on-par finish. Shouldn't be tough to clean that up. Didn't have to blink too much for that. But keep in mind, one of the most important things that we've seen in recent times, of course, is, well, those that shine early don't always maintain that shine through the rest of the tournament. Lee Jae-yong also carrying a 1 over, aims for birdie on hole 8. Just a narrow miss for her here. And that should do it to keep that on par finish. Will accept it gracefully. Won Yumin aims for a birdie on hole number 7. Remember, this was going to be fairly close for her. She'll have to settle for an on-par finish. There's no doubt about it. Shouldn't be too tough for her to clean that up, but we'll have to wait for her chance. Just a tad bit of a descent from where she's standing. Jung Yoon Ji. So a birdie on hole 8, and she just about navigated that decline extremely well. It's her first birdie and a whoop of joy for her. She goes up to a 1 under on the 8th hole. So the front 9 can always be quite a challenge. Let's not forget that Lee Vaughan, of course, has won a couple of tournaments in there. She won the NH Investment and Securities Ladies Championship. Then, of course, she capped off the Suyuk Bank MBN Ladies Open. She also won the Blue Canyon Ladies Championship which was the second event in the year on the 17th of March. She's been one of those big movers this year, so very important to see how she can perform in this tournament, keeping in mind the fact that it is prestigious. Now here's Ro Sung Wei, finishes with an on par on hole number 7. We had the DB Group Korea Women's Open Golf Championship, which was co-sanctioned with the Ladies Asian Tour, and that got over on the 16th of June. We also had 2 big events on the 23rd and the 30th of June. Of course, the 23rd of June had a really good amount of prize money. So it's interesting to see how well our golfers come good here today. Wang Yumin. And she'll be, well, I won't say pleased as punch with that, but it's always an exciting golfer to watch. She's got extremely good temperament on the golf course, very good camaraderie with most of the golfers. And it's one of those things, you either are a very intense golfer, or you can be, well, one of those golfers who really enjoys the game, enjoys your time on the course. Most of them do, but some do tend to be a lot more sincere or intense with their approach. Having said that, at the Suyuk Bank Open, which Lee Won won, Lee Won and of course Wang Yumin, really good mates, and she's always sharing snacks with everybody around. I bet you if you actually get onto the course, she'd pass you some too, and most of it is fruit. Here's Pak Hyun Kyung. Will tee off for hole number 7. She's carrying a 2 under, goes into the 6 iron. I think that's a decent enough approach for her, and she'll be happy with that. Puts her into good stead to actually claim a birdie here on this one. Very strong forearm and wrist movement. Hook that just a tad bit. Up next, of course, will be Lee Won. Another decent effort from her as well. Here's Choi Hai-jin as she tees off with a 7 iron for hole number 7. We of course shall give you our standings as far as well, some of our stars are concerned in just a little bit, because the leaderboard of course shows us a very different story as to where we started off this event. Lovely trail there through the woods. I did mention this earlier. 27 holes for the course actually that we're looking at, and it's a course that's been designed by Jack Nicklaus, the Golden Bear, as we called him. Thanks of course to his he was a tall big lad, and of course his golden hair. Well, I think also the fact that it tied in with the amount of championships he used to win. It was actually an excellent title, and also a very lovable title for non-golf lovers or those who were new to the sport. Wang Yumin tees off for hole number 8. She's carrying a 3 under. She's been very confident, good poise. I did mention this at the Suyup Bank Open. She did a falter on the last day, and that was undoing. She was actually poised to win that tournament. So there's always going to be moments when you'll shine, and there's going to be moments when that silver lining just gets a bit rusty. But all in all, always an exciting golfer to watch. Back to the green. So Lee Won, of course, started off at about 12:34 to be precise, along with Choi Hai-jin and Pak Hyun Kyung. They've been grouped together. That also does kind of reflect where they stand as far as the rankings are concerned too. And this grouping always important, and it changes over the next few days. Let's not forget you've got Bangshin Sil, who's ranked at 6th. Park Min-ji ranked at 4th in the current K rankings. Park Ji-young at 3rd. Park Hyun Kyung at 2nd. But Lee Won, of course, right up there at number 1. Yes, Bangshin Sil. That's the second stroke. Just trying to get close enough. I think she should be fairly well happy with that. She's been on a roll, 4 consecutive birdies, and I think she'd like to keep that steady. The last thing you want to do is probably lose out. Just a view of Bangchan Sil on that 5th hole. Had a bit of a slope there, but just got that down to perfection. And that was the first birdie of the day. And on the 6th hole also, perfect placement there to set herself up for a win. Before she was able to, well, net her second. Then on hole number 7, it was a par 3 for the asking. And that was just perfect placement. Almost got a birdie in there, or a hole in one. And then on the 8th hole as well, delighted once more. This time she had to navigate through that slight slope. There was a bit of a curve. It was hard to actually judge, because for me it was going to move from the left to the right, but I think she gauged it beautifully and just got it right. So 4 consecutive birdies. She's up to 4 under currently on a 9th hole. What's interesting, of course, is that Bangchan Sil hasn't won an event this year, so it could be time for change. Meanwhile, yes, Choi Hai-jin look to finish on par, and she does for hole number 7. I think she'll be fairly happy that she's been able to keep that together. Lee Won, who started her day with a few challenges and a few obstacles, aims for birdie on hole number 7, needs to get it back to an even score, or more probably to a neutral. Nicely done there. That's her first birdie of the day. Could be a sign of things to come. So she's back to an even score, and I think that's so important. You want to stay out of the positive zone. You know, get those unders as much as you can. Park Yoon Kyung, who's had a very, very good year so far. She's currently the winner of the previous event, the McCall Mona Park Yongpyong Open. Nicely does it. So a 3 under for her. She's got consecutive birdies on the 6th and 7th. Got a first one on the 3rd and the first 9. I think she's been in a very, very positive frame of mind, and I think, you know, just that previous win. Let's not forget, before the McCall Mona Park Yongpyong Open, she also won the BC Card Hyungkyung Ladies Open. So that's back to back, 23rd June and 30th June. And that's going to, we'll just sail over. And she'll clean that up with Jung Yoon Ji, nailing 35 there on her first 9. She had one birdie in there too on the 8th hole. Meanwhile, here's Bangchan Sil, one of the golfers to watch in this event today. Well, as I said, it's only day 1, round 2 and round 3. It's pretty much in round 3 that you know where the front runners are. But it takes, well, just a few moments to change everything in the final round. And just missing out on a birdie would have been 5 consecutive birdies for her. She'll need to tap that in to keep an even score here on hole number 9. But I don't think she's going to be too displeased about that. So 4 under and a score of 32 on that first 9. I think that's absolutely marvelous from her. She's been the performer of round 1 so far. And here's the crowd favorite. A very hard-working golfer, Wang Yumin, going in for a second stroke. This is for hole number 8. She's got a 3 under as well. It's a par 4 for the asking. Employing the 9 iron. Well, she'll stay away from the flagstick by a fairly tight margin. Will be a bit of a challenge to get an underscore here, but I think, well, never say never. And never say you cannot. Park Kyung, very, very confident today. She drives that one. A good bit of power.
멈춰주세요.
Lee Won gets ready to tee off for her next challenge. This time it's hole number 8. 372 meters is what we're looking at. She's carrying an even score, remember. I'll just hooking that a little bit. I think it's very important at this point of time for, well, most of our golfers to really get acquainted with the conditions more than anything else. Here, Choi Hai Jin will tee off for hole number 8 as well. She's in Lee Won's group, and this trio has been in our focus. She's carrying a 2 over score. I'm just getting herself well into the rough for a tad bit. Well, always love it when you have the exodus, or the migration is a nicer word for it. The migration from, one hole to the other. It's one of those things I've always taken great delight in watching. As a child, as a teenager, and even now. Wang Yumin aims for birdie on hole number 8. She has to, gauge that well, because there was that decline which was moving towards the right, and I think it was always going to be tough. So she'll clean it up with an even score. She'll keep that 3 under intact, so I don't think she's going to be, too perturbed about it. I did say this earlier, she does bring a breath of fresh air to the tournament. She's always in a good mood, even if she's down on her luck, or she's close to winning the tournament and she's actually, kind of made a few mistakes. And that's really great spirit, to have that kind of temperament, to have that kind of demeanor when you're playing golf. Well, it's actually a gift. There are some golfers who do pack that in. Park Kyung, all eyes have been on her. She's been also one of those golfers, started off with very strong focus here today, so it's very important to see how she, comes good in this tournament. 나는 말야 버릇이 하나 있어. 그건 매일 잠에 들 시간마다 잘 모아둔 기억 조각들 중 잡히는 걸 집은 후 혼자 조용히 꼼꼼해. 이걸 난 공상이란
이름으로 졌어 고민하다가 아무튼 뭐 오늘은 하필이면 너가 스쳐버려서 우리였을 대로 우리 정말 좋았던 그대로 우리의 에피소드가 찬란하게 막을 연다 배겨는 너의 집 앞 첫 데이트가 끝난 둘만의 에피소드가 참 예쁜 얘기로 시작 자작자작 조심스러운 대화 그새 늦은 시간 Goodbye 좋은 뜻일 뿐인 Goodbye Way to have this smile 이게 이 스토리에서
Absolutely beautiful collage there of pictures showcasing Park Hyun-kyung. Marvelous work being done here. And I do love it when you do have, well, any kind of, well, elements that showcase the player. Beautiful song as well to just lace that or to grace the video. Very well done. Just gauging the situation well here, Park Hyun-kyung. Remember, there's a water hazard there. It's a bit of a tricky spot when you think about it. But that's only to the left, and I think what she's really concerned about is that sand bunker. She'll have to scale past it, or the approach for this hole, of course, tends to be very, very tricky, and I think that's why she just took a bit of time, took her eyes off the destination for a bit. Sometimes you do that. Sometimes you use the greens when you're sitting at a desk job to actually refresh your eyes. Sometimes you got to get yourself away from the greens when you're on them. She's got the bunker on the right and then 2 on the left. Going in with a 5-iron, she's got to cover 166 meters. It's hole number 8. And that's her second stroke. And I think that was a concern. It was about getting into the cap box right there on the right side of the green. Lee Won, of course, in a fairly, well, with a fairly better advantage, keeping in mind the fact that she's got to keep it straight as an arrow if she can, avoid hooking it for certain. Also for her second stroke on hole number 8. And well, just about flying off the green and into the rough, but that isn't going to be too tough for her. Meanwhile, Hwang Yoo-min will tee off for hole number 9. That's a par 4 for the asking, as we can see, 353 meters to cover.
아니 방향이 저쪽으로만 안 가면 되는데 지금 아예 나무 끝으로 넘겼어요. 짧게 쳐도 어차피 떨어질 데가 없어.
Choi Hae-jin, for her second stroke, she's carrying a 2 over. Very interesting. She's kept herself off on the green, unlike her, well, partners in the group. So here we have it. Yoon Ina and Choi Min Kyung tied at the top there with an 8 under, and they've been strong performers in the day. Keep in mind the fact that it hasn't been very easy. Bangchan Sil is in tied 9th. Having said that, these young golfers still have an entire back 9 to cover. So here we have it. Yoon Ina and Choi Min Kyung with an 8 under. They're through 64 there. Lee Ga-yong and Kim Hee-ji are currently on 6 under and tied 3rd, and Lee Joo-mi, who's in tied 5th with a 5 under, will be joined by a couple of her mates. Keep in mind the fact that most of these golfers have finished off with their first round efforts, and these are basically the dew breakers, or the dawn breakers as you'd like to call them, the dew sweepers, sorry. Yoo Hyun Jo, Kim Soo-ji and Choi Ye-rim also formed that finish off the quartet in that tied 5th. Wang Jeon-mi, Kim Yun-ko in tied 9th with a 4 under. And I think it's important now for the other stars who've come in later on to make a difference. Bangchan Sil is also in tied 9th with that 4 under with Seo Kyo Rim. Jun Ye Sung, Kim Yeon Hee, Kim Ji Hyun in tied 13th. There's also Hwang Yu Min in there. But Bangchan Sil has only finished 9, which means she's still got an entire back 9 to cover. And I think that's that's interesting when you think about it, isn't it? It's still the entire stretch of the road ahead of her, and she's had a very, very good morning. Very good afternoon, sorry. Lee Jung-woo, Kim Seo-ji, Ko Ji-won, Hwang Yu-min and Park Hyun-kyung will complete that tied 13th with the 3 under. So very interesting the way things have panned out here as far as our stars are concerned. But I think what is even more interesting is to see, how they can, upgrade or uplift that performance. Do stay with us, don't go anywhere as the Lotte Open continues right here. This, of course, as we said earlier, is one of the key golf courses, the Bears' best Cheongna. It's got the USA, Australasia and Europe nines, which is why there are 27 holes in there, 72 par 72 and 72 hole stroke plays what we're looking at right here in the heart of Seogyu, Incheon metropolitan city. Temperature has been fairly easy, about 27, 28 degrees, wind speeds of about 2.5 to 3. We did say there might be overcast skies later on in the day, but that's post 5 o'clock when rain or thunderstorms have been predicted. As long as that happens after the event, we aren't complaining. Looking to make the cut here now is Park Hyun-kyung. She's carrying a 3 under. This is the 3rd stroke on hole number 8. Needed to get out of the cat box, and that's exactly what she's done. I don't think she'll be too pleased about the positioning, but she can still aim to keep her score intact. It will have to be a bit of an effort. Had a few reservations before she went in for that previous stroke. We did see that. Here's Bangchan Sil. She's got her own ground to cover. She's on hole number 10. It's her 2nd stroke, 225 meters to cover. She's got a par 5 to keep in mind. But there's numerous, sand bunkers, and I think that's what's the concern here. She's got to stay out of them. And she's definitely flown the green and also had a voice, given that ball a voice. That just hit the microphone. But if it had only been the flag stick, and I'm sure that's what she said to the caddy. Here's Lee Yvonne. Oh, beautifully done. Well, almost nailed that there. Picked up a first birdie on the previous hole, and I think she would have been very keen on doing that. But as long as she doesn't get into those overscores, I think she'll still be, well, pleased about that. It's been a very, very slow start for her. A couple of challenges, but then sometimes it's those challenges that set you up even for a win. Wang Yumin now, who's had a rather positive start, onto a second stroke for hole 9. Got herself onto the green. It's a fairly decent effort. We'll have to work for that birdie, but I don't think too much. She's got, well, the strokes in her bag to be able to do that. Meanwhile, there's Park Hyun Kyung. They'll aim to finish on par for hole 8. 7 meters to the hole. It's a bit of an incline there. That would have been outstanding had she just finished that. Would have got the crowd to roar out. And she'll just have to drop a notch there. It's a 2 under now for her. Wasn't really expecting to finish with an overscore. So a bogey for her. Well, a bit of a surprise. Choi Hai-jin nails a Cuban there. She'll be glad to just get that done. But that was such a lovely previous effort from her. Decent putt. Looking at the 9th hole, which is a par 4 for the asking, 353 meters. And this is a very interesting one for us. If you look at those bunkers right in front, they can be a bit of a problem. And you've got those, well, declines in there. They are not really the easiest to navigate through. I think that that's the important part. We've got the box turned over. Sure, the sponsors will want that turned back around.
알겠습니다.
Well, just to keep you in the loop, of course, USA coast, which has the 9 holes, is the out, and Australasia is in. Europe, of course, is out for. Europe is not included in today's, well, event. So Australasia will be the back 9 that we're looking at, but this, of course, is the USA last well hole, which is the 9th. And interestingly, of course, that was named the Bears Club Florida hole, the last hole of the USA course. Won Young Min, she's on to her ninth, aiming for birdie. 4.2 meters to the hole. Remember, she's got to be careful of that slope, which is very faint. Oh, beautifully done. Confident effort there. She goes up to a 4 under, finishes with 32 on the front nine. 4 birdies in that pack. Oh, that is outstanding. Marvelous work, straight out of the rough and straight into the destination, Bangchensil. And she's got an eagle there as well. So that takes her to a 6 under. Absolutely fabulous. She had a couple of strokes on her side. So Bangchensil has done extremely well. Park Yun Kyung tees off for hole number 9. Well, as we did say earlier, this is the hole that is named after, well, the Bears Club. It's the Jack Nicklaus family's Florida home club. The Bears Club is one of the USA's elite private clubs. Features a beautiful course with a layout reminiscent of the Carolina Plains and consistently ranked as one of the best golf communities in the United States. So that was a really, really important hole as far as the designer is concerned. Yunin Ah and Choi Min Kyung continue to lead at the top with that 8 under, and they had 64 points in the bag there. You still got some of our stars, including Hwang Yoo Min, who's in tied third with that 4 under in a quartet. And then, of course, keep in mind the fact that, well, there's a lot to cover as far as, well, some of the others are concerned. In tied third, you still got Lee Ga-young, Kim Hee-ji, Bangchensil moving up to that, and she's only finished with the first of a back 9, which means she's got 8 more holes to play. Could very well top the leaderboard if she keeps the performance consistent, and she's been good. She's not only had well, you know, a couple of consecutive well, birdies, but then she also had an eagle in there, and that's quite a big thing, isn't it? So Lee Joo-mi, Yoo Hyun Jo, Kim Soo-ji, and Choi Rim in tied 6th. They are carrying a 5 under. So just to look at how things have panned out so far, it's been a good start for some of our young ladies. Some, of course, have had their moments. A little bit more on this course itself. Let's not forget the 27-hole course, which was the Jack Nicklaus design, was unveiled early in the new millennium. And each loop, of course, was named after Australasia, Europe, and USA. And it consists of the best 27 holes selected from among 290 golf courses in the world. So each of those 27 is like pretty much the cream of the crop, and that's where they get their titles each hole. It's a proven tournament venue. It's hosted the tri-sanctioned Shinhan Donghae Open since 2015, which is staged on the Australasia and United States of America circuits. Now, the Bears Best Chongnao was the third Bears Best layout to open after Bears Best Las Vegas in 2001 and Bears Best Atlanta the following year. The third South Korean sibling, of course, opened close to Seoul downtown in 2012, and that's the one that hosted the the Shinhan Donghae Open on the Asian Tour between 2014 and 2019, and also the Korea Women's Open in 2019. Today, of course, we are using the Australasia and USA to be precise. USA is the out and Australasia is the in. Australasia, of course, is defined as a very harmonious natural landscape with forests, waterflowers, and grass. It's got an open planting landscape created on the right side of the residential area. As you can see, there's a lot of apartments in and around the area as well. And more importantly, most of the forests are lush and multi-layered, so dense forest tree species have been well used here, and they flourished extremely well. Park Hyun-kyung onto her second for hole number 9, 122 meters for the hole. She's carrying a 2 under after she bogeyed the previous one. And she's put that fairly close to, well, her target. Meanwhile, here's Lee Yu-won, sorry. She's on to her second, well, stroke for hole number 9 as well. Remember, this is the Bears Club Florida hole. Well, I think she shouldn't be too well concerned about that. We'll have to work to nail an underscore here, but I think she understands. She's had her moments in this event, but she's done, well, what she can, and I think it's day one. It does kind of put you through the test. You still have to finish pretty much, well, with a decent score to be included in day 2, and that's when, well, all the chunk of the players start getting trimmed out. So Choi Hae-jin onto her second as well for hole number 9. Oh, just keeping her, well, partner in that trio company. Park Hyun-kyung. Quick look at Choi Hae-jin there. Has had a meteoric rise. She's also the winner of the Lotte Open in 2023. So she's the defending champion here, literally. And there's a birdie for her. I think that video would have just done her good. So she gets her first birdie. She had a double bogey on the 4th, but the birdie on the 9th, finishes with the 37 in the first 9. So the Lotte Open was her win last year in 2023. She also won the SK Telecom in 2023. That was the S-Oil Championship. Here's Bang Shin-sil. She'll be looking for a first win this year. 84 meters to the hole. She's gone in. Go with a fairly confident stroke. Remember, she had an eagle on the previous one. She's having a very good day at the office. There's no doubt about it. It's just about now staying consistent in that back 9. Meanwhile, Park Hyun-kyung readies herself for her next challenge. Just a very narrow miss there. I think she knew there was a slight bit of a twist in the tail, and that decline really can be, or that descent can be really, really confusing on some days. Here's Lee Won. Aims for birdie on hole number 9. Well, that looked like it almost semi-lipped out. I think definitely a chance for her to have made it count. She won't be too pleased about that, but she'll just have a smile. So finishes with the 36 on the front 9, and that's thanks to a bogey in there. That birdie, of course, her saving grace. Tap that in nice and easy, so no worries for her. Park Yun Kyung. So she's had 3 birdies, 1 bogey in there, and 34 points to round off the first 9. She'll finish with that 2 under. That bogey just stalling her progress, but I think she'll be happy enough to have kept that going, fairly consistent. Beautifully done, Park Chu-young. Absolutely marvelous effort from her to nail a birdie there on the 13th. She also had an eagle on the 10th. She's got a 3 under, looking every bit confident. Talking of the eagle, was yours one that flew that just a while back, and that's Bangchen Sil. She's just missed out on what could have been. We'll clean that up with not much of a worry. She's just going to rue that missed opportunity for a bit. We're just waiting to get a camera onto, well, Kim Jae-hee. We haven't seen much of her, so we're glad to put her into focus. Onto a second stroke for hole 10. She's carrying a 1 under, 249 meters to the hole. Meanwhile, he has Swang Yumin. Backing in a wallop on that one.
아 그러네.
You can see the high-rise, well, apartments right behind, right there in the background. So Yunin now continues to be right at the top with Choi Min Kyung carrying an 8 under. Don't forget Bang Chun Sil's got into that tie third with Lee Ga-young and Kim Hee-ji. She's sporting 6 under, still has about 7 more holes to go. Lee Joo-mi, Yoo Hyun-jo also there with Choi Yu-rim in tied 6 with the 5 under. Hwang Jun-mi, Kim Yun-kyo, Steo Kyu-rim and Hwang Yu-min, who's only on a 9th hole, is in a quartet there as well. So very important to see how well Hwang Yu-min and Bang Chun-sil come good. And let's not forget, all eyes on Lee Won as well. She's expected to perform here today, and I think it's going to be a test of character for her to get through well those few moments where she's had well, I'd say a few worries every now and then. So all said and done, it's been a fairly good start for many of our world ladies here today. And I think there's still a lot more expected. Always a beautiful sight to get a view of well, habitation around the area, and not just the habitat, which would be, well, all the forests. Here we go, defending champion of the Lotte Open Shield tee off. We do have that box that was turned back up. Somebody heard it. Choi Hai-jin tees off for hole number 10. 484 meters is what she's looking at. Hasn't been the best start for her. She's carrying a 1 over score. Remember, this is the Austral Asia course that we're looking at, and very importantly, this is called the Ramchabang Thailand hole. And it's named, of course, after the Lamchabang Golf Club as the 5th best course in Thailand. It's one of the most beautiful courses in Pattaya. It consists of 27 holes on 700 acres with each 9-hole layout designed uniquely. So good tribute to that is this hole. And Lee Won tees off as well. Remember, we said USA was going to be on the out, so the first 9, and on the back 9, of course, it's the Australasia course. Meanwhile, here's Wang Yumin. She's carrying a 4 under onto hole number 10. That's the third stroke. Well, I think just a tad bit too much of club on it. There was a chance that could have sailed into, well, the hole, but that's put at a bit of a distance now. She'll have to aim for birdie, and we'll need to cover a good bit of ground. Park Hyun Kyung gets ready to tee off as well. That's for hole number 10. It's a slightly dogleg shaped hole. You've got to keep to the left side of the hole to get to the green, and the key is to avoid the sculptured trees in the center of the second stroke. So that's really the key for the Lamchabang hole, which is the first in the Australasia course. A lovely shot of the cameras. Almost looks like she's positioned in the grass, which she isn't really. But Bang Shin-sil, 150 meters. It's a par 3 for the asking. Tees off for hole number 12. She's got herself onto the rough, but we'll be keen to, of course, get past that. Kim Jae-hee was definitely looking to make that count. Just a few worries for her early on. I don't think she'll be too worried about that. Well, her group mates will allow her to finish that off as soon as. That's exactly what she does. Well, she knows she can make this count. There's no doubt about it. Has got to navigate past that descent. It slopes downwards. There's a slight bit of a turn there towards the right. It's Wang Yung-min on hole number 10. Well, almost does it. I think that was an absolutely good effort from her. She'll knock that in to claim an even score on this. As long as that doesn't, well, get her into an over, and I think Wang Yumin will accept it the way it is. A couple of sand bunkers there which look daunting, but not too difficult for these golfers to get past them. Lee Won. Has kept herself on the fairways, and this is what we spoke about earlier. You got to be careful of those trees from the second stroke, and I think she's kept herself in good stead. Choi Hai-jin, meanwhile, she's been having, well, a challenging day. Needs to cover a decent bit of ground. Will also have to stay out of trouble as far as the hazards are concerned. Got herself onto the rough, but she still stayed away from, well, the beach, and I think that that's a good thing. Chow Hai-jin just getting closer. Now it's all about getting onto the green. Meanwhile, Park Hyun-kyung gets ready to go with her effort. And that's just a tad bit unfortunate to hit the slope and get into the cat box once again. Well, it's the second time around. Those bunkers have been a bit of a stumbling block for her. And I don't think she's going to be too happy about that. Well, just very unfortunate. Bounced straight off that slope. So Yunin and Choi Min Kyung still at the top. Bang Shin still stays in tied third with a 6 under. She's still got 7 holes to go. Let's not forget that Hwang Yu-min, who's also on the course right now, is carrying a 4 under and tied 10th. She's got 8 holes to go. So an interesting equation as far as, well, the leaderboard is concerned. Wang Yumin on to her 11th hole. That's a second stroke. Needs to get past those bunkers. It's a bit of a, almost dips in like a canyon. I don't think she's going to be too displeased about that, but the fact that she's just got herself well in a tad bit closer, I think would make her happy. Lee Won would have loved to have finished that, well, just a tad bit earlier. But she'll do what she can. And here's Park Hyun Kyung. Needs to find her way through. Aims for birdie on hole number 10. Well, just a tad bit of a strong push. Slightly missing a destination. She'll take that even score for the time being, but needs to get herself back up to that 3 under that she was at in that first 9. Choi Hye-jin, of course, well, gauging her situation now. And that's going to be good for her. Very good for her morale on hole number 10 to claim a birdie. Choi Hye-jin, that's her second, of course, consecutive. She had a double bogey on the 4th, and that puts her on an even score for the time being. Just as I mentioned earlier, she is the defending champion, and it's important for her to work well. Meanwhile, Wang Yumin has a bit of ground to cover. It needs to focus on this very strongly. Wang Yumin. Just a narrow miss there once again. She's been so close to nailing those birdies in the last few. We'll finish it off faster than expected. Choi Hye-jin gets ready to tee off. Remember, she had a birdie on the previous one. Wins the honors to tee off first. Or won the honor to tee off first. Lee Won gauging the situation from her side. Lee Won, 355 meters as she tees off for hole number 11. It's a par 4 for the asking. This, of course, is the Sherwood Hills Golf and Country Club Philippines hole. It's got a down 5-meter hill. You need to hit a good shot and clear the left wetland. A good tee off will keep you on course for a birdie. Meanwhile, yes, Jong Yun Ji on a second stroke for hole number 13. Park Yun Kyung also will tee off for hole number 11. Looks like she's got herself well into the thick there. Well, she's faltering a tad bit. She started off extremely well, but it's been a few worries for her in the last couple of well holes, and I think that she'll just have to well pull herself back a little bit and I'll figure out what her next plan of action should be. It's not always easy. And there's always going to be, well, a few worries every now and then. Lee Ji-young, 116 meters to the hole. We're going for a second stroke. That's hole number 13. Par 4 for the asking, as we know. And that's a fairly decent placement from her. Definitely get a well small cheer from the crowd. Hong Chen Sil onto a second stroke for hole 13. That's beautifully placed as well. Good amount of confidence. That stayed put. It's not going to roll.
실례하겠습니다.
Lee Won, who got herself into a spot of trouble when she hit the beach, needs to get out of it. Park Yun Kyung onto a second stroke of hole number 11. Needed to get out of the rough there, and I think she's done fairly well. Put herself in good stead. Now teeing off. It's Ro Seung Hui. On hole number 12, she'll go in with an 8 iron, 150 meters, par 3. That's what's available here. Choi Hai-jin on to her second, and she's just getting a bit stronger with her efforts as compared to before. She had a shaky start in defense of a championship. Wang Yu-min will also tee off for hole number 12 using an 8 iron. Meanwhile, here's Jung Yoon-ji carrying a 1 under, will aim for birdie. She's had a moments in today's event. Hasn't been the easiest for her, Jung Yoon-ji. Lee Won. Her third stroke will have to settle for an on-par finish, and I don't think she's going to be too unhappy about that, keeping in mind the fact that she did have to get out of the beach just at some time, and it was at quite a distance. And elsewhere, here's Lee Ji-young. And she'll nail a birdie on the 13th. Well, appreciation for that applause from the crowd. That's a second in the back nine. She's up to a 1 under. So 2 birdies in the back nine will hold good for her. Lee Won. She's really had to pull herself together, try and, keep her composure in this event. It hasn't been the easiest for her. And she'll accept that gracefully, Bong Chun-sil. Another birdie on hole number 13. She's had 5 birdies and an eagle. She's up to a 7 under, and she's slowly climbing up that order. Very, very possible that she will claim the leaderboard right at the top for today. Oh, just a narrow miss again. Park Hyun-kyung going through the motions in today's event. It hasn't been the easiest for her. She's had her moments for certain. Always a chance here to make it count on the 12th hole, but I think she's going to be concerned well about that, because as you get through round one, you want your performance to get up to speed as soon as possible. Now here's Choi Hai Jin. Narrowly missing out on a birdie. Really disappointed with that. She was going so good. She's got very well positive in the last couple of holes. We'll have to settle for an even, but there was such a good chance of a birdie here, and she knows that. She just can't believe how she missed it. Meanwhile, Hwang Yumin gets ready to skim off the border and try and find her way through that flagstick. She's got a 4 under, 10.4 meters to the hole. This is hole number 12. Once again, narrowly missing out on the target. I don't think she's going to be too worried about it as long as she can, well, just avoid getting into that over. Park Hyun Kyung will finish on par here. Started off in a very good manner, Park Hyun Kyung, but has just had a few, well, moments that have taken things away from her. Here's Roh Sung Hui, aims for birdie on hole number 12. Just missing the target. And that's well done. She finishes in a very good manner. I think she'll be happy about that. And while here's Bong Chun-sil, second stroke for hole number 14, 235 meters to the hole. She's flown the green, that's for certain. But actually she hasn't. She's just fallen shy of it. But I don't think she's going to be well worried about it. She's done well here today. She's done extremely well to keep herself right there at the top, and that is definitely got to be a worrying one for Hwang Yumin. Well, just a tad bit impulsive, I think, on that, and she lands up bogeying the 12th, which brings her down to a 3 under. Well, there are days when you just feel like you can, well, make it count, but you just got to be a tad bit careful. Well, the lovely spot of water there with the spout and the fountain. It's also got the Lotte open plumb well in there. Well, that always gives you a good feel of what the event is all about. So a lot of the golfers, and we got to thank our, well, cameraman for that, you know, drone shot especially, give us some amazing, well, results. But one of the good things here today, of course, is that we haven't really had. I mean, I don't want to put a spoke or throw a spanner in the works, or put a spoke in the wheel, but it's really been a fairly decent day. It's been a good start in round one. And what does happen, of course, and we do know that, is if wind conditions change over the next couple of days, then it just entirely upsets the apple cart. So some of the golfers really have to be so versatile to adapt to situations. As long as it stays consistent, the weather is similar, the wind conditions are similar. And just a bit of a moment there with our ladies sharing a joke. Lee Won drawing Park Hyun Kyung and Choi Hai Jin into it. This has been our trio and focus here today. Keep in mind the fact that Lee Won runs, or basically is right up there in the rankings.
자, 저희 내려오도 멈춰주세요. 플레이하겠습니다. 플레이하겠습니다.
Choi Hai Jin will go on next. There goes Choi Hai Jin. Well, she's had a few good moments in today's event, but she's also had a few very challenging ones. And I think that this is, just about time for her to probably take a look at that. Yes, Park Hyun Kyung. Almost thought that was going to roll forward. Hwang Yoo-min on hole number 13. She drives that through with very, very strong confidence. Keeps herself on the fairways, and that's so important. Remember, hole number 13 also is an important hole. It is the Spring City Resort China hole. Meanwhile, Lee Won is on hole number 12 as she tees off. 150 meters is what she's looking at. This is the Heritage Golf and Country Club Australia hole. Par 3 for the asking. Keep in mind the fact that you got to hit from the right to the left, which is exactly what she did. She got over the bunker surrounding the green, and she's kept it on the right side to avoid a bad score. So very well done there by Park Hyun Kyung. Named the Heritage Golf and Country Club Australia hole number 12. The reason for it is it was the Heritage Golf and Country Club in Australia was the first Jack Nicklaus signature golf course in Australia, and the challenge of the course with its natural beauty and the stadium style par 72 championship course is pretty daunting for a lot of golfers. It's rated as one of the top 20 courses in Australia, so this particular hole was named after that. Now we move on, of course, to our next challenge. Here's Bang Chun-sil. Gives that a bit of a lift. Very, very good positioning from Bang Chun-sil. So right there on the green now, Park Hyun Kyung, Lee Won, they've got themselves into fairly good positions to probably claim a birdie, but Choi Hai-jin has got a challenge. She stayed off, well, a lot of traps earlier, but this time around did find herself in the cat box. Will go in with the wedge. She needs to definitely get out of this, and it all depends on how she chips this. Well, gives that, well, a tad bit too much of club, but I think she's got herself out of the beach, which is a good thing. Having said that, remember in your sophomore year, it's always going to be very difficult. You know, you either really shine or you have a few challenges, and Choi Hai-jin just going through that. She still is the defending champion here after winning the 2023 Lotte Open. So interesting to see how she comes good as we progress through this day. Jung Yoon-ji now aiming for birdie on hole number 14. Oh, that's well done. Absolutely well done here, Jung Yoon-ji. It's been a while since she got a birdie. The previous was only on the 8th, so she's up to a 2 under. She hasn't bogeyed a single, but she would have liked to have got a few more birdies in there. But she's finished with even scores, and that itself means consistency. So important to see how she progresses. Hwang Yoo-min. She's got a 3 under, 95 meters to the hole, her second stroke on hole 13. Remember we said this is the Spring City Resort China hole, a par 4 hole that's very difficult on the course, as the green is elevated and the fairway is relatively wide, so you've got to, well, start off with a good tee shot, which she did. Here's Park Hyun Kyung now. She's at a tad bit of a distance compared to her compatriot Lee Won. Will aim for birdie on hole 12. A very narrow miss for her. And that pretty much does it. So well done here by Park Hyun Kyung. Settled for an on par there. Bang Sin-sil meanwhile. Aims for birdie on hole 14. Remember, she's carrying a 7 under. Oh, just a narrow miss for her. That could have gone up to an 8. Just needs to tap that in to finish it off. She'll keep her 7 under intact for the time being. It's rather painful when those moments happen, isn't it? I think she won't be too perturbed about it. Park Do-yoon. She finishes with a 33 on the front 9. She's had a few good well, moments in there as well. Choi Hai-jin will bogey this one. I don't think that's what she would have wanted, but she'll have to settle for it as it is. And it's been just getting tougher and tougher for her. That'll put her, well, return back to round 2 in jeopardy if she doesn't really shine here today. A couple of holes left for her to seek redemption. The 1. And that's a birdie for her. That's going to be sheer joy because she was carrying that 1 over. And now it just, has been a bit of relief. Bogey on the 11th, birdie on the 12th. She's back to an even score. She's got 6 more holes to go to make it count. Wang Yumin drawing ever so close here. Would have loved to have finished that with an underscore. I think she can probably clean it up. Her compatriots will just allow her to do that. Well, keeping the even scores can be a good thing, but you really got to try and finish off or try and put together whatever's the best you can. Well, isn't that a pretty picture? Always is. And one for the camera as well.
플레이하겠습니다. 네, 하겠습니다.
Lee Won will tee off for hole number 13. Remember, this is the Spring City Resort China hole. That resort, of course, opened in 1997, has been voted China's best course by Asia Golf Monthly for years, including a 2010 poll which won the Best Coast in Asia Pacific Award. And this hole, of course, has a tribute to that renamed or named after it. Meanwhile, on hole number 15, he has Bang Chun Sil still carrying that 7 under. This is the Borneo Golf and Country Club Malaysia hole. First hole on the course which had a lake around it, and then those extensive bunkers around the tee and in front add to the drama of this hole. Let's not forget the Borneo Golf and Country Club was considered one of the best courses in Malaysia with its unique semi-links design concept, and the Jack Nicklaus Signature Golf Course offers a championship tee there too. The course is well worth its praise as the pride of Borneo. Yes, Pak Yun Kyung tees off for hole number 13, which is the Spring City Resort China hole. And just staying well close to her groupmate Lee Yvonne, now Cho Hai Jin will have to swing her arm over next, or forward, not over. Well, a chip that could find its way in, and absolutely wonderful Park Ju-young. What a delight. She's had her moments here today. She's on to a 4-under, has had 3 birdies, an eagle and a bogey. But what an amazing effort from her to chip that straight out of the rough and onto or into the cup. Absolutely marvelous job. One of those golfers, Park Ji-young. She's very, very well, calm and collected, very easygoing, very fluid with what she does. Bang Sil, she's on to a 3rd position here with that 7-under, right behind Yunina and Choi Min Kyung, who are tied first still. And there's every chance that Bang Sil can scale past them. Keep in mind the fact that Hwang Yumin, of course, just falling out of grace. She was there in a tied 10th for a good bit of time, but she's dropped out. Kim Haram too is in there instead. So interesting, well, times for us here at the course. Let's remind you once again that this is the Lotte Open 2024 being played at the Bears Best Cheongna, which has the USA, Australasia and Europe sections in there. 72-hole stroke play, and we are coming at you live from Seogyu in the Incheon metropolitan city. It's been a pleasant day. Temperature at about 26 to 28 degrees since the afternoon. Wind speeds of about 2.5. Rain and thunderstorms predicted later in the day, probably when we are back in our respective hotel rooms, having a nice cup of hot chocolate or coffee. Don't forget that this course, of course, is a really important one. And as far as the LPGA is concerned, the tour, this is the 47th season, and it's a professional golf tour for women operated by the Korea Ladies Professional Golf Association, which is the KLPGA. This 27-hole course, as we know, is designed by Jack Nicklaus, was unveiled in the early millennium, and each loop has been named after a certain region and the best courses from that region, so Australasia, Europe and USA. And it took a good bit of time to name them because 27 holes were named after courses picked from 290 golf courses in the world. The Australasia course that we are on currently right now features a blend. It's a harmonious natural landscape, has lots of forested area, water, flowers and grass, and an open planted landscape created on the right side of the residential area. I mean, great to be living here just for this serenity, unless you're too close to the course and then you have golf balls flying across into your close to the apartment. Now, most of the forests are very lush and multi-layered, so dense forests, tree species were introduced here for a reason or with purpose. Now here goes Lee Won. 125 meters to the hole. That's very, very good placement from her, and I think she'll be happy about that. Meanwhile, Bang Sil, she's got, well, almost look like a trio of apartment buildings there, but fairly decent placement onto the green. Park and Kyung next. Onto a second stroke for hole 13. 118 meters to the hole is what she's looking at. And I think that's been fairly decent from her. Did push as best as she could. Choi Hai-jin goes next. She's carrying a 1 over here, 105 meters to the hole. Wang Yumin next. Second stroke for hole number 14. Interesting here as our ladies get onto the green. Lee Won, of course, has got herself in a fairly strong position. Bang Chen-sil. Aims for birdie on hole number 15. Just a tad bit impulsive, I would think, with that shot. She actually had that covered. And just skims past the surface. And that just shows a tad bit of frustration for her. Just wanted to clean that up immediately. She's really had, well, not the best day at the office. And she knows it. It's taken a lot to, well, soak that in. And, you know, keep your chin up. An Sun-ju, 75 meters to the hole. That's hole number 18. She'll finish off a day. She's carrying a 2-under score. Up next, here's Park Hae-jun. Her second stroke for hole 18, looking to finish off, well, her day's event.
박주영, 안성주 선수를 박수로 맞이해주시기 바랍니다.
Very interesting here.
자, 이것은 국내 최초 일본과 희도가 가능한 롯데 오픈만의 시그니처 플레이 종입니다. 우리 선수에게 많은 박수와 함성을 부탁드립니다.
Park Hyun-kyung. Was a very good chance for birdie here. She'll have to settle for another even score, but I think, well, this is really that part of the day where just a little bit of fatigue could set in, you know, a few worries. She did give us a beautiful shot for the camera earlier, looking, well, very vibrant and pretty, and a big broad smile as well. Bang Shin-sil, she's been right there in our focus right through the day, teeing off at hole number 16. She's carrying a 7 under. Remember, well, a few moments have passed for her as well where she could have got into that top bracket. 8 under, that's what she needs to be aiming for or more before finishing the day. And that's a nice finish from Lee Yvonne as she gets her second consecutive birdie, which means she's on to 1 under. Wang Yu-min. She's on to her 3rd stroke. We'll be looking for a birdie here. Lee Yvonne teeing off here. She's got herself into a very, very strong position after she had her first, well, after the last 2 birdies. She struggled through that first 9. And what a lovely finish here by Park Hae-jun. A birdie on the 18, finishes with 35 on the front, 34 on the back, and a 3 under. Wang Yu-min. Hole number 4. Hole number 14, sorry. Aim for birdie. And that's well done. She's back up to a 4 under. Not too young. Finishes with 36 on the back, 31, 36 on the front, 31 on the back, and of course a 5 under. It's a fantastic finish for her. She'll be pleased as punch with that. Rose Young-Hui aims for birdie and she'll get it.
자, 플레이하겠습니다.
Park Hyun Kyung. Second stroke. Function Sil carrying a 7 under, 16th hole. Remember, if she nails a birdie on this, she'll get up there in the top bracket into the top. Teeing off for hole number 17, Kim Bo-mi 3. Oh, that's a beautiful placement from her. She's carrying a 3 over though. Yunina and Choi Min Kyung still right there at the top after they finished their day's efforts with 8 under. Bang Shin-sil in a third with 7 under. Lee Ga-yong, Kim Hee-ji with 6 under and tied fourth. So still a few, well, movers in there. So some of the golfers finishing off their day's events. So here's Lee Yvonne. And that's a very, very worthy shot. Moving on now to Park Hyun Kyung. Jong Yoon Ji. And she'll be pleased with her performance today. She's had a few good events in the year itself. Has kept herself there, fairly steady in the rankings, not really too high. Here goes Cha Hai-jin with the third stroke for hole 14. Things have progressed for her as well. Oh, that could have just rolled in. That would have been wonderful. Would have been an absolute marvel for her. Bang Chun-sil would have nailed a birdie on this. Would have been really good for her to have got up there in that at the top of the leaderboard, but she'll have to settle for an on pass. She's still got 2 more to go and a chance here to finish off at the top, but she's going to be back tomorrow. There's no doubt about it. Can she stay consistent for the rest of the tournament? I think that's a very, very good question. Kim Bom 3, she finishes with the birdie here. She'll be excited about that. Choi Hai-jin finishes with the birdie on 14, and that's good for her. She really has had a moment. She's back to an even score here. Had a double bogey and a bogey in today. So well run up to this hole so far. Park Hyun Kyung will aim for birdie on hole number 14. And that's nicely done by her. That will also get her morale up. She's up to a 3 under, puts a smile on her face on hole 14 and a sigh of relief. She's got 4 more to go. Meanwhile, Wang Yun-min has been, she's just active, isn't she? Always there, present, makes her presence felt big time. On to her second stroke. We'll roll that forward towards the destination. Lee Won will finish with a birdie, so that also will get her a bit of a morale boost. 4 more holes to go and a hat-trick of birdies there. So it's a 2 under for her. She's finding her groove. Bong Sun-sil teeing off for hole number 17, and this is important for her. These 2 holes will be so important for her to keep, well, herself in good stead. She's just got herself on the border, a little away from the green. Now that's a beautiful finish. Kim Jae-hee providing a bit of joy there. 2 under for her. had one birdie on the first 9 and one on the back 9. Park Hyun Kyung teeing off as well. Wang Yumin will just miss out on a birdie there. And that's just skimmed the surface. Bang Shin-sil. Well, the last thing she'd want to do is jeopardize, well, her position and where she currently stands. Remember, she's in 3rd, just behind the front runners who are on 8 under. Now getting ready to tee off. Yes, Choi Hai-jin for hole number 15. And she's put that onto the rough. Jong Yoon-ji, she's on to hole 17, needs a birdie here to get herself up, well, that ladder. Well, Chiske had a tad bit wrong, that, well, sloping downward movement towards the left. That's what she needed to cover. She'll just tap that in easy now. We'll finish with an on par. We'll keep that 2 under for the time being. She has been consistent with those on par finishes. I don't think she's really had too much of a worry with that. It's just about nailing those birdies. And I think that's a conversation she was having there with her caddy. Bang Chin-sil also doesn't want to be taking any chances to jeopardize her, well, position as such. She'll stay with that score of 7 under. She's got one more shot, well, to get up there at the top of the leaderboard with only 1 hole to go. I think that's going to be important for her. Lee Won on to her second stroke. This is hole number 15. Oh, that's beautifully placed. She set herself up for an under finish here, and I think that's really what she would have wanted. She's slowly but steadily done well in today's event. Park Hyun Kyung next. On to her second stroke for hole 15. She's got a 3 under there. A couple of holes left to play for. It's been a very, very interesting day for us all in all. Also keep in mind the fact that one of the key elements in this tournament has been, well, how some of our golfers have started off, some of the front runners. Keep in mind the fact that we do have many who've been going through their own, well, moments. It hasn't been easy as such. Pretty much, I would say, a little past the halfway mark of the events this year. Lee Jae-yong teeing off for hole 18. That's going to be her last. Absolutely wonderful effort from her. Keeps herself on the fairway. And just looking at those rankings and how they stand, Lee Won and Park Hyun Kyung, they're really very close to each other though. Lee Won has 11.29 ranking points, Park Hyun Kyung 8.9, and then there's hardly a gap there between her and Park Ji-young, who's in the third in the rankings with 8.65. Yes, Bang Chun-sil teeing off for hole number 18. She's ranked currently 6th. She's played 46 events, 6.9. That's how many points she's got, ranking points. And she will aim to finish with a birdie on hole number 18. Now that is so important for her. Also keep in mind the fact that this is a very unique hole, hole number 18. This is the Sungai Long Golf and Country Club Malaysia hole, and Malaysia's first international championship golf course. It was the first Jack Nicklaus designed course in Malaysia that opened in '93. Now the last hole of the Australasia course, it's a fairly long one, a par 5 for the asking. There's a lake located on the right side of the entire hole, but the course doesn't have too many obstacles, and that's beautifully placed. Choi Hai-jin. Choi Hai-jin putting herself in good stead for a birdie too. She's had stellar moments, and then she's had some really dismal ones today. Here's Roh Seung-wei carrying a 3 under. And I think she's done extremely well. Kim Jae-hee onto hole number 16, 138 meters. She needs to cover. She's on to stroke 2, and she's got herself onto the green fairly well. Park Hyun Kyung now. And that's fairly close enough. And that's well done, Park Hyun Kyung. We'll acknowledge the applause. Could have really scaled a few heights here today, but had to struggle through some. Lee Jae-young on a second stroke for hole number 18. Well, that's beautifully placed, and she can finish with an under score here on this hole. Jung Yoon-ji. Well, not the most confident shot. It doesn't scale too much of ground. Would have liked to have got that onto, well, the green. The last thing she'd want to do is bogey right there towards the end. Bang Shin-sil, this is a very, very important hole for her today. On to her second. Remember, she would have loved to have finished here with a birdie, but I think she's got to stay out of trouble and probably try and finish off with an even score if nothing else. And Lee Won just narrowly missing out a birdie on hole number 15. Well, she needs this to actually, well, just scale up the ladder on the leaderboard. She's had a few narrow misses, and we'll have a few words there from a caddy to say it's all good, don't worry. Just keep doing what you're doing. There's 4 more holes to go. Choi Hai-jin had that very decent setup earlier. And a birdie on the 15. She'll be delighted about that. It's moments like this that she's really had to work hard. Had great placement there. The consecutive birdies, which gets her to a 1 under. Here's Young, Miss Consistent. Did not falter too much. She's carrying a 2 under. Jung Yoon-ji. It's hole number 18. Looking to finish with a birdie, but I think she can keep her calm to get an even score and, well, avoid bogeying that one. She hasn't had a bogey all day. That's interesting. There, of course, is the galley. We will see the event finish off here in 4 days. The clubhouse always, well, the best thing, followed by the 19th hole. Well, here goes Bang Shin-sil, hole number 18. Well, I think that was always going to be tough, and she knew it as well when she did have that second stroke. But we'll have to keep her calm as well, even though it's really close to clean it up. And she'll keep her 7 under right intact. What a performance from Bang Shin-sil. 32 on the front, 33 on the back. She's also had an eagle and 5 birdies in there, and she stays in 3rd position on the leaderboard. We'll see more of her tomorrow, and now it really will be about endurance and how she can keep her form through the next 3 days. But what a performance from Bang Shin-sil. She's entertained the crowd here today. Could be something in here for Lee Ji-young. It's the last hole for the day. Would like to finish with an under. And she does get her wish. That's a fine finish, and what a positive note to end the day on. Lee Ji-young, 37 on the front, 34 on the back. She finishes with the 1 under, and that's put a smile on her face. Well, as long as it does, well, that's what's important. Hole number 16 now, and here goes a strong one from Park Hyun-kyung. It's a par 4 for the asking. Keep in mind the fact that this is called the Kinloch Golf Resort New Zealand hole. Kinloch Club in Lake Taipo was named the world's best new course in 2007 by TNL Golf, before the last 9 holes were even completed, and a recent poll by Asian Golf Monthly ranked it among the top 3 courses in New Zealand. It's not only unique in its design, this hole, but also has a surprising elevation challenge. So it'll be interesting to see how our golfers perform there. But right now, it's time for a finish for Jung Yoon-ji. She'll aim to finish on an even score. And yes, she does. She'll be happy about that. Well, if there's one thing that she's got right today, Jung Yoon-ji, not a single bogey. 1 birdie on the back 9, 1 on the front, and she finishes with a 2 under. So it's been a decent day at the office for her. Quick hugs there for her group mates, including Bang Shin-sil. Meanwhile, here's Hwang Yoo-min. One of those golfers who's just relentless with her pursuit of excellence, soaks in all the bad moments, keeps a smile, her chin up. She's on to her 3rd. Well, almost does it for her. Just needed a bit more club on that. So we are pretty much getting close to the curtain closer for round 1. It's been a very, very challenging round for some. It's been a very positive one for some. We've been delighted by the performance of Bang Shin-sil here today. It's been an absolutely wonderful, performance from her. Let's remind you once again that this is the Lotte Open, which carries 868,188 USD as prize money. Roh Seung-hui will aim for birdie on a 16th hole. 13.9 meters is what she's got to cover. And we are coming at you live from Seogyu, Incheon Metropolitan City. Well, did try to conquer that decline. I think a little more would have done it for her. Keep in mind the fact that this is the Bears Best Cheongna golf course, which incorporates 3 loops: Australasia, Europe, and USA. Today we had USA on the out and Australasia on the in. It's a course designed by Jack Nicklaus, the Golden Bear, the legend. Yoon In-ah, Choi Min-kyung will maintain their position at the top of the leaderboard with 8 under, which they amassed. They were among the dew sweepers. Bang Shin-sil, of course, is in 3rd with 7 under. Lee Ga-young and Kim Hee-ji right behind in 3rd, 4th with 6 under in tied 4th. Interesting turn of events here as far as our golfers are concerned. It's been quite a journey for some of them getting to this position. They're in tied 6th. We see Park Ju-young, Lee Ju-mi, Yoo Hyun-jo, Kim Soo-ji, and Choi Rim. They're all carrying a 5 under, finishing off at 67 points. And that's really one of the interesting things when you look at what that point scores at the end and how you perform on the back and the front 9 in round 1. It also gives you a feeler of what your adaptability to that course is and your suitability. Lim Hee Jong is also in tied 6th with 5 under. You've got Wang Jong Mi, Kim Yun Kyo, Seo Kyu Rim, and Hong Hyun Ji in tied 12th with 4 under. Still a good bit of action left in this tournament on day one. So don't go anywhere as we continue with the Lotte Open, which has sprung its few surprises here today. Hole number 16, here's Lee Won. Ro Seung Hui carrying a 3 under. Park Hyun Kyung using a 7-iron. She's on to her second stroke for hole number 16. Now here goes, well, Hwang Yu-min. Teeing off for hole number 17. She's gone in with an 8 iron. Honors for the top 60 players in the VMix points ranking. Total prize money is 500,000. Well, VMix, and the top position gets about 90,000 if I'm not mistaken. Lee Won, she's on hole 16. Will need to claim a birdie here. Not too much of a difficulty level at this point, but the distance does make a difference. There's also a bit of a wind draft coming in, as you can see with the flagstick. Needed to give that a bit of a strong push, and she did. Just, well, if you look at that, well, that ball just tapering towards the right and then curving in towards the left beyond the flagstick, a little shorter. And keep in mind the fact that it's very much in line with the can. It would have found its way through. And that's what, well, most of the pro golfers know. They definitely know that you just got a couple of more inches, or maybe half a foot more than you should have. Wang Yumin, she's just gone about her work very silently today. Hasn't had too much of chatter as well. And the few moments that we've caught with her, it's all about just, well, getting the job done and moving on. Hole number 17, it's an important one here for Wang Yumin. She also has to, well, keep herself in good stead. Oh, and that slipped out. More than lipped out, it's actually dipped in and dipped out. Oh, that's just a tad bit unfortunate. What an amazing effort from Wang Yumin. Here's Choi Hai-jin. And a Cuban for her. But she will be able to knock that in, so not a worry. Roh Seung-hui gets it away from the destination. Will have to settle for an even score. I don't think she's going to be, well, too pleased about it, because she just had it there in the palm of her hands. And that gentle tap will do it for her. It's a bit of a sigh there from her. Of relief, probably, that she wouldn't have to bogey it. Now yes, Park Hyun Kyung. Hole 16, aiming for birdie. Oh, what a narrow miss. What an extremely narrow miss, but Wang Yumin. And that's got to be really unfortunate. That lipped out. Something about that hole. It's been her bogey hole for certain. And that takes her down to a 3 under. Very, very unfortunate. Well, in a previous, well, putt she did, of course, nail it. But then that ball just moved out. And I think Lee Won is going through the same motions here. And she can't understand it. Well, it's just sometimes a particular hole will pop out and just it won't let you, well, get through that ball. Afraid of the dark there for certain for Lee Won. On to the 17th hole. It's a par 3 for the asking. 155 meters is what we're looking at. And this hole, of course, is named after the Australian Golf Club in Australia. It's the oldest and most famous course in Australia. Jack Nicklaus redesigned the course in 1977, and 6 Australian Open titles have been played there. The course has hosted 17 Australian Opens. Most recently was in December 2007. That was the last time. Here's Choi Hai-jin teeing off for hole 17. Also keep in mind the fact that this hole, it's a straight one. The narrow green does present an advantage for golfers, and approaching from the left side of the green, you have to be careful to avoid the 2 bunkers ahead. So I think that's really a key part with this hole number 17. Part of the Australasia loop, and the second last hole before we get to the last one, which is the Sungwi Long Golf and Country Club Malaysia hole. That is the last hole of the Australasia loop. Using a 7 iron on hole number 17, yes, Park Hyun Kyung. She's had her moments here as well, Park Hyun Kyung. Lee Won will look to make it count on hole 17 as she tees off with an 8 iron. Remember, she just missed out on 2 birdies. One was just in the previous hole. Chipped gently by Hong Hyun Ji. Looking to make it count as well. We've got a few late risers here. The dew sweepers did very well. They had a very good start here today. There's no doubt about it. Here's Roh Seung-hui. She tees off for the last hole of the day, hole 18, 286 meters, par 4 for the asking. Gets a bit of a body swing on that. She's got herself away from the sandbox, and I think that's going to be good for her. It's kind of strange when you look at the surfaces, isn't it? Well, the fairways tend to be soft but with a hard underlayer, and then you've got the softer portion, which is the sand, which makes it worse to get out of the cat box, and then you've got the water, which is probably there's nothing solid in there, and that's when you're in trouble. Let's not forget the thick as well, the forest. Hwang Yu-min will tee off for hole number 18. Remember, she had a tad bit of bad luck on that previous hole where she bogeyed what would have been a birdie for her, and it's just the way the ball was refusing to find its way through into the cup. She will aim to finish with an underscore on the last one. Yes, Hong Hyun Ji looking to finish on par, and that's exactly what she does. So Hong Hyun Ji, 34 on the front, 34 on the back, finishes with a 4 under. Kept it very consistent. 2 birdies on the front, 2 birdies on the back 9. Yu Gi now aiming for birdie on hole 9. Got a 3 under, and she's done well there. So she goes up to a 4 under as she finishes with 34 on the back and 34 on the front. now we move on to Lee Yvonne. Second stroke for hole 17. This is very important for her. Well, the birdie might be out of contention, but she's got to keep an even score. She's really had many challenges today. Surprisingly, this group, of course, Choi Hai-jin as well, has had her own share of worries. Have been huge disappointments for her right through the day. And she'll look to, of course, change that around tomorrow. Kyun Kyung up next. She'll aim for birdie on hole number 17. It was always going to be difficult, almost conquered, well, that descent there. She'll have to settle for an on par. She too started off well in the day and then had, well, a few challenging moments. Meanwhile, it's over to Ro Seung-hui. On to her second stroke, and well, a birdie might be a big ask here given the distance. Meanwhile, Choi Hai-jin also living through those motions. She's on hole 17, just like her compatriots. There's a strong wind draft here now. And that's the fifth time around that she's, well, just had that moment. A fifth Cuban. Could have an army of them today. Don't think she's going to be too happy about it. Well, as you can see, that flag stick really moving. There's a good bit of wind speeds coming in. It's another on-par finish for her. I'm sure she's trying to figure out what exactly went wrong, but you just have your days. Now, Wang Yumin getting closer to the clubhouse, onto a second stroke for hole 18. Well, she's put that onto the green, there's no doubt about it. Well, she too would want to finish, well, as soon as possible. Get back to the clubhouse, go and get yourself maybe a nice frappe or a hot chocolate or whatever. Most of the ladies, of course, tend to opt for good coffees or lattes. Well, here we have an on par finish for Lee Yvonne, and I think she's got, well, just one more to go before she can finish off her day's efforts. I think it's been a challenge for her too. She and Choi Hai-jin have really lived through the moments. Well, you can hear the strains of an Ed Sheeran song, perfect, playing behind, and that's what Bong Chun-sil had today, a perfect performance, almost. Kim Jae-hee will aim for birdie on hole number 18. Remember, she's carrying a score of 2 under. Oh, that's got to be impossible. Well, that ball certainly requires a bit more coaxing, doesn't it? That was such a lovely, well, putt from her earlier, but she'll finish with an on par, and she's had, well, 1 birdie on either side, 35 on the front, 35 on the back, and she'll finish with that 2 under. No bogeys at all. So, well, as long as you avoid the bogeys, you know, you still can keep those birdies in your pocket, and I think that's what, well, 2 of our golfers have done here today. Having said that, do not forget that we are moving towards, well, the last hole for our main trio and focus. And that's Choi Hai-jin who'll tee off. She won the honors to do that with her previous effort. She's on to last hole for the day. She'll have Lee Won, of course, who'll follow suit. Gets a good bit of farm on that. Would have been a wonderful finish for her, but I think she's, Roh Seung-hui, will have to settle for what it is. It's been, well, a hard-working day for her. She finishes with the 3 under, had 2 bogeys there on that front line, and that was her undoing, but I don't think she's going to be too unhappy about it. Park Hyun-kyung tees off for hole number 18. And she knows that she's got to pull everything that she's got in it together.
멈춰주세요.
And Wang Yumin, what could have been, she would have finished with a 4 or a 5 under, finishes with a 3 under, 32 on the front and 37 on the back. It was that back 9 that did bother her a lot. She had a good start to the day, but I think she'll be pleased as ever, at least not to have dropped more points there. So we are on to our 3 ladies who are in focus, and that of course is Lee Won, Park Hyun-jin, and of course Choi Hai-jin. So we do have the strains of the music playing there. It's also important to figure out what exactly our ladies will come up with right towards the end. It's almost like that final lap of day one, isn't it? Lee Won just getting ready to do her bit. She knows she's got to make this count. "58 meters to the hole." Well, that is wonderfully done. Lee Won just showing masterclass there, and as to why she leads those rankings. It may have taken her time to find her stride, but well, even if she does it at the end of the day, I think she'll be fairly happy about it. Here goes Park Hyun Kyung. Choi Hae-jin. 45 meters to the hole, her second stroke of hole 18. Also put herself into a decent position. So very quickly, let's keep you abreast of what's happening. Yunin Na, Choi Min Kyuk still at the top there, and they will remain at the top with 8 under. Bang Shin Sil with 7 under is in third. Lee Ga-yong, Kim Hee-ji in tied fourth with 6 under. And they, of course, have been the challengers. We will see this tomorrow when they return to the Bears Best, Chongna golf course. We've been coming at you live from it. And we do hope that you've been enjoying the event as much as us. Remember, tomorrow will be a test of whether you can keep yourself together and maybe keep consistent with your performances, build up on what you did on round 1. But it's really round 3 and round 4 that'll be the cutting edge. I think a lot of the golfers today would have liked to have done better, but we'll see them again tomorrow, including Hwang Yu-min. And I think Lee Won really fighting to stay fit here and keep herself in the running for a return tomorrow. So we are coming to that part of the event where we will see well what exactly Lee Yvonne can come up with. And she's done extremely well. Well, that's exactly what she would have wanted. She's also got that smile. She wanted to finish with a birdie, and yes, she has 36 on the back, 34 on the front. She finishes with a 2 under. She really struggled for those birdies and to finish with an underscore, and I think she will be just happy that she's worked that well. Here's Choi Hai-jin. And she'll just fall short. That'll pretty much be the end of the day for her. She knows how tough this has been. 37 on the back, 34 on the front. She's had a bogey and a double bogey in there. But I think she'll be glad that it's over and that she'll live to see another day. A very interesting finish. And we are down to our last golfer before we can round up the day's events, get you through a few highlights. Here's Park Hyun-kyung. And what a wonderful day. What a wonderful way to end the day. Lovely there from Park Hyun-kyung, who finishes with a birdie. 34 on the back, 34 on the front, and she'll be pleased as punch as she finishes with a 4 under. And the second ranked player in the tournament has done very, very well for herself, for the second ranked player in the current K rankings. We will have, of course, a few of the best shots to show you. And then, of course, we move into the end of the day. Just to inform you, my name is Glenn Mascarenas, and I was with you right from the start of this tournament. I will be with you right till the end of day 4, which is the final round, and this is the Lotte Open, an 868,188 USD event. In just a few moments that we had earlier in the day. We're looking at the second hole. That was Yunina. And then on the fourth hole, picture of concentration, she was the joint leader up there, Choi Min-kyun. She finished with that 8 under. Remember, she had a very glorious start. She was one of the dew sweepers, and it was really exciting from her. Very collected, very calm, and she had a hat-trick of birdies there. And on the sixth hole, of course, we did have Yun Ina, who also leads the way right at the top of the leaderboard. She also had a few stellar moments. And there was another birdie that we saw. coming from Choi Min Kyung. And on the third hole, Hwang Yu Min. She chipped that straight out and into, well, the hole, and she's such a wonderful golfer. You know, she's got real skill. It's just sometimes things don't work your way. Yunina on hole number 9. She nailed the birdie too. She was very, very good today. Bang Shin Sil on hole number 5. She too had that amazing birdie that just crept its way through. One of the star performers along with, well, the top ranked players. There, Bang Shin Sil once again on hole number 6 as well. She really shone bright. Had a couple of moments that kept us guessing as to what would happen. Then on hole number 7, with that tee off, she had a wonderful moment again. Bang Shin Sil, she really was the star of the second part of the day. Perfect placement there to set herself up for a birdie as well on hole number 7. Then on the 8th hole too, Bang Shin Sil had to conquer that slight decline, and she did it perfectly well. Gauged the situation, the entire length, and the trajectory was brilliant, absolutely. On the 10th hole, again Bang Shin Sil was right up there, and the reason why she is in focus is because she did put on a great show here today, and I would hate to see her not repeat that. It was also that knock on the microphone, which was the only probably ball to do that. And then straight out of there, came out of the rough and into the cup. Probably one of the best moments of the day, if you ask me, and that was on hole number 10 when she nailed an eagle. Then, of course, on the 13th hole, once again, a stellar move from Bang Shin Sil. Perfect positioning to set herself up for a birdie. And didn't have to sweat too much for that. And on the 17th hole, as we saw, it was an absolutely fantastic finish. Another real charmer straight out of the rough. Then on the 18th hole, Bang Shin Sil needed to finish with the birdie, but just fell shy of it, and that's where she could have tied at the top with the front runners, but she had to remain in third position. Well, thanks to that, even score right at the end on the 18th hole. Five birdies and an eagle there, which earned her that 7 under score. She had a fantastic moment. So, very quickly, let's remind you, Yunina and Choi Min Kyuk will stay at the top with 8 under as they start off tomorrow as the leaders. Bang Shin Sil in third, Lee Ga-yong, Kim Hee-ji and Lim Hee-jong form a trio and tied fourth with 6 under. Park Ju-young and Lee Ju-mi are carrying 5 under in tied 7th, and they of course will be joined by their teammates Yoo Hyun-ju, Kim Soo-ji and Choi Rim. That's their competitors. Hwang Jong-mi and Kim Yun-kyo, of course, follow suit. Let's remind you once again that this was the Lotte Open, which is 868 $188,000 US, which is the prize money being played right here at the Bears Best Cheongma, which includes 3 loops, USA, Australasia and Europe, 72 holes. It's a stroke play, and we were coming at you live from Seogyu, Incheon Metropolitan City, where the weather's held up all day, and we've been thankful for it. My name is Glenn Mascarenas. It's time for me to shut shop and ship out of here, but I'll catch you again tomorrow at noontime. Till then, of course, you stay well, and don't forget to join us once again to share the action of the Lotte Open. Bye-bye for now.